WETA Radio brings you The World of Gene Shepherd.
Oh, I'm sorry if I've offended you. I was just getting in practice. You never know. I might have a demonstration or something I want to take part in. Better get a little tongue sticking out practice. Stuff like that, you know. Give them the Bronx raspberries. By the way, I haven't heard a really good Bronx cheer in a long time. The last good Bronx cheer that I heard was done with the aid of an echo chamber. I had this friend, electronic cuckoo, and he's also quite aggressive and somewhat of an introverted personality, and has problems with modular displacement of his ultra ego. And so, of course, I don't want to bother you with this kind of talk here at this hour. You know, after all, there's so many other important things to think about, you know, like, doggone it. There was something right on the tip of my tongue. I mean, something important, and I just can't offhand remember what it was. Like this kid wrote me a letter here. He said, Shepherd, he said, he said, I live on Staten Island. I tried to turn in a book report on your book, In God We Trust. He says, which starts where Mark Twain stops. And he says, I tried to turn in a book report, and he said, my teacher refused to allow it. And he said, when I asked him why not, he says, well, isn't that man on the radio who's never serious? Well, I guess this lady wouldn't have liked Mark Twain in his day either. You know, he had a tendency to spit on the stage. You know, he did that quite often, but he did it with such style. Bring it up there. Poor kid. Well, we're still blacked out in Staten Island, but by George, we got Mask with Queens right in the palm of our hand. Bring it up there. Oh. Hello, Tess. Hello. Speaking of, yeah, it's not easy, you know. But, of course, there's all kinds of things happening today that you know, just make it difficult to understand. And I have one here, a little note here from Hinkley Point, England. The Sergeant Major, and this guy in the Army, see, he's really bugged. And we're going to have this big exercise. Sergeant, I don't know whether you know the Sergeant Majors in the English Army. It's sort of like a first sergeant in our Army. They're tough, you know. They really... not all first sergeants are tough, but this, you know, is a true one. He got bugged because they were going to have this big exercise, and you know, war games type thing exercise, and he's really sore, and it's getting into the public press all over England now because the enemy, you know, the bunch of soldiers that were playing the enemy, refused to participate because it was raining. It was going to get wet, see. And Sergeant Major Roy Blackmore of the West Somerset Cadets said, an officer told me his unit would not take part because it was raining and he didn't want to get wet. But that old story about the Army not wanting to do it because it's raining, that reminds me of you know, it really reminded me of an incident that happened. I don't think I've ever told this story. You know, when you're in the Army, and anybody who's ever been in the Army will agree with me on this, I know, because it's just a fact. The one thing about Army life is that everything is stripped naked to the bone. It's very clear. Everything is very obvious in the Army life. For example, rank. That's something that the guys who are in the Army never quite forget. That in civilian life, of course, it is impossible to tell a guy's rank. And you'll sit down there chock full of nuts. You may be right there next to a guy who's a major general in his world. And, you know, he's knocking down a brownie and having a little of that orange drink there, maybe a hot dog. And on the other side of you, there may be a guy who's a PFC in his world. And that's the thing about civilian life. Everybody's pretty indistinguishable because they don't have a badge of rank. That's one of the reasons why, have you noticed so many hippies today are going for military costumes? And, oh, yeah, I saw a kid the other day. Seriously, I saw a kid the other day on the 8th Street in the village. This kid walking along. And being an old ex-GI, instinctively, you know, I saw the flash of the silver. And when you see flashes of silver on a guy's shoulder, man, if you've been in the Army any length of time at all, you instinctively do one of two things. Either look the other way, which then absolves you of the problem of saluting. Or, if you can't do that, it happens too quickly, like the guy comes out of a doorway and suddenly catches you, and your mind is somewhere else. You see, instantly salute. Well, it was kind of embarrassing, you know. I'm probably the only guy in town right now who can honestly say that he saluted a 14-year-old lieutenant colonel. This kid came out, he's got the colonel, he's got the leaves up there and the whole bit, see, the pips. And I saluted this kid. And not only that, he was a lieutenant colonel, strangely enough, in the 9th Infantry Division, which has had a pretty wild history in the past. Very tough division, this kid. I knew that they had some precocious officers, but the 14-year-old lieutenant colonel in the 9th Infantry Division, tough division. But these things that happen to you in the Army are never really forgotten. They're all tucked away. And one of the things that makes the Army life so fascinating to guys, people who hear about it, is that there's a certain continuity, a certain similarity of experience that every GI's had, because the Army is the Army, and you go through a certain set of experiences that are required to be in the Army. For example, you go through PT. Everybody in the Army has had PT. Not everybody in civilian life has had PT. You know what I mean? Doing the push-ups and deep knee bends and all that kind of stuff by the hour. Everybody else in the Army has had, he's had various types of physical examinations, which guys don't ordinarily go through in civilian life, at least not often. But in the Army, they go through that regularly, sometimes at 3 o'clock in the morning. They'll blow whistles, and you're sound asleep there, and all of a sudden the door slams open, and there comes in a sergeant and 2 corporals, and there's an officer from the medical department. And they throw the lights on, they catch you there, and all of a sudden you're taking a physical at 3 in the morning in your raincoat. And these are things that everybody in the Army knows about. But this little story out of England reminds me of I don't know whether I should tell you. You want to hear an Army story tonight? All right. I'll tell you an Army story. And it has to do with war games. Now, you always hear about these exercises. And the various exercises have to do with the Army maneuvers. They're called maneuvers, And I'm in the Signal Corps, and I'm in the 3162nd, and I'm in Company K, a real fighting outfit. And all of a sudden, one day, we're going through our training. And we've been training now, it seems like 400 years. We're training going on. We're running up and down these hills, and we're lugging great big, enormous reels of wire, and we're laying. Every day we'd go out and we'd lay out a telephone line. That was what our training consisted of. We'd lay a telephone line through the woods, and then we'd hook up our phones, our field phones. And you've seen these in the movies, the ones where they crank. Oh yeah, you know that one of the tricks we used to do is once in a while we would hook there's a way you can hook the field phone up in such a way that if there's a guy at the other end and he's got a hold of the wires and you crank it, you can shock him out of his skull and his tin hat flies right off. And then there's a lot of yelling up and down, who done it and all that stuff, especially if we can get a lieutenant at the other end. We just turn that thing on. And so that's called a field telephone, and that is the bane of the Army Signal Corps, carrying those crummy things around. Half the time they don't work. And so we would go out on a field trip every day. We'd set out in the morning, me and Zinsmeister and Gasser and Goldberg and the whole crowd, Edwards, and every morning we would set out. And we'd have this Jeep, and we'd have our wire in it, and instructions where we're going to lay the wire today, where we're going to put the phone line in. And we would have a map, you see. Our section commander, who was Kowalski, he had, Sergeant Kowalski, he had this map, and it would say, we are laying, he would read it off. He'd say, men, today, I want you to see what we're doing today. We are laying in a hypothetical field problem. We are laying in the wire. We'll go from command post of a hypothetical infantry company, Company C, of this hypothetical battalion. We are laying in it from the company command post back to the battalion headquarters, which is located 2 7/10 kilometers from where the company command headquarters is. Now, we will have to lay this by 0700, because at that time they're going to lay an artillery barrage, a hypothetical barrage. They're always doing hypothetical things in the Army. Hypothetical barrage. And by that time, we must have the line in, and there must be messages moving in regular prescribed fashion over the PL-33 by that time. Any questions? All right, now, Edwards and Gasser, Shepard, you guys want to be in charge of the wire laying. I want you, Goldberg, get Goldworm, Goldberg. Let's see, who else we got here? Martin, you guys will be in charge of taking the PL-33s. All you other guys will bring all the equipments out. Make sure you have the wire strippers, number 17 LGs, and make sure you bring all them clips, okay? All right, we will now move out the Jeep. Let's go. Oh, crying out loud. There we go again. Boring. Oh, jeez, boring. And every day we're laying this crummy wire, and we'd finally get it laid in. We'd get the phones hooked up, and we're all scratched with the weeds and stuff. And we'd crank it. Nothing would happen. And we'd crank it again. Nothing would happen. And then about 2 hours later, the other guys get on the other end of the line. They'd crank it. And then it turns out our phone isn't working. We go back and get another phone. We hook it up. And finally somebody says, hello? You can, hello? 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 Hello, Company K? Hello? I can't understand you. Well, that once again was a failed exercise. They couldn't understand us. We couldn't understand them. There was a hum on the line. And so that's the way it went continually until that fantastic day. I'll never forget that. Did I ever tell you about the all-night field exercise when I was paired with Goldberg? What a wild scene that was. We were sitting around in the company headquarters, company in the orderly room one day, and I was on. I'll never forget. I was on CQ that time. Now CQ means you're just working all night, and you're sitting there and you're checking guys' passes when they come in. It's the one good thing about CQ is you get plenty to eat. I'd go down to the mess hall once in a while, and KPs are sitting around down there, and I go in and I get some salami, and I knock down a bologna sandwich, and I come back and sit there. An hour after hour goes by, and then a guy came in from battalion headquarters, and he's got a bunch of fool's cap orders, and these are supposed to be the orders for the week. And take a look at the orders. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to quickly file them away. So holy smokes, we're going to have a real field problem next week. A field problem. It's the first time we ever had an actual field problem. And it says we are designated blue. Company K is designated blue. And in parentheses, it said aggressor. Company K is the aggressor. What a joke. We're going to be blue, the aggressor. And so, of course, the next day I immediately passed the word around, in the latrine. I said, next week we're going to be the blue aggressors. And the word spread like wildfire. We're going to be blue aggressors. And everybody wanted blue aggressors. Oh, that sounded real romantic. And we're going to be blue aggressors. Oh, it sounds great. Until the Monday happened. Lieutenant Cherry, this is the week of the blue aggression. Monday blows the whistle. Cherry's standing out there. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. Lieutenant Cherry's walking back and forth in front of us. And that night, little did I realize I'm going to have one of the great fun nights of my entire Army career. A thin rain was coming down. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. Slow soaking, the kind of soaking rain that just keeps coming down, in gray, moving, undulating sheets. And the company street was just one river right across the whole, between the two barracks. And you could see the ruts. You could see the water running along the back of the latrine and down over the side into the drainage ditch. And it's cold. The temperature is about 40 degrees. We're way out in the boondocks of Missouri. And it's right in the middle of winter in Missouri. I don't know whether you've ever spent a winter or even been in the Ozarks in the wintertime. Man, I'll tell you, it makes Jersey look like Miami Beach. And the wind is blowing down from the mountains. And way off in the distance, you can see trucks moving out into the rain. And those are red defenders. And they're moving off. They're gone. And we are the aggressors now. And this Army game has apparently been played for months on end. And it involves the entire Army. I mean, millions of guys in different camps. And they're all out in the woods. And they're way out in the mountains. And they're down in the valleys. And they're off in the fields. And this finally has settled so far down the chain of command that it has pulled Company K into it. And we, when it finally got down, we'd been reading about this exercise. This exercise, by the way, went on for about 4 months. And each little unit has its part to play. And we found ourselves in blue aggressor. The rain is drifting down. And they pass out among us. Each one gets a blue armband. Just a blue armband. And on the armband has been stenciled K. That's our company. And that's our Army. It is blue. And Lieutenant Cherry is walking around out in front of us. Now, men, Tonight, immediately after chow is sounded, we will move out. And we will not return to our company area for 21 days. We are living in the field. All of our training now will pay off. What a joke. Nobody since asked me to hook up a PL-33. Pay off. It will now pay off. Out in the woods, in the 2nd Command Area's operational acreage, the Red aggressors have taken up their positions. Excuse me, the Red defenders have taken up their positions of defense. This is a Corps-wide area, and we play an important, if not a crucial role in the entire success of the operation. Your sealed orders will be... Oh, boy, it's getting exciting. See, we're standing in the rain. It's coming down on our hats, and up to this point, all we've been doing, this is right after basic training, and we've gone through all of our technical training as far as linemen and all this stuff. This was long before our company was sent off the radar. We are a line signal wire laying company, and our specialty is what they call company and battalion line communications. That's telephone. And we've got all these Jeeps with the big reels. Oh, what a rotten, back-breaking job laying that wire. Even now, I think my fingernails hurt from it, just thinking about it. That wire and the cuts. Oh, you'd get some cuts, boy, from that wire when the wire's got mud on it and it's got grains of sand, and you reach for it while it's going off the reel, and it'll cut you right to the bone before you even get your hand off of it, And so this is the kind of crummy, deep grubbing work in the Army that you never see pictures of. You're always, every time they show the Army, they show guys shooting mortars, or or they show guys firing machine guns, or they show other guys flying airplanes. They don't show that great ant heap of guys that tie them all together. These guys that are digging holes and working tractors and laying wire and sticking sticks in the ground and hammering it in and putting up lean-tos. What miserable work. But now it's exciting. See, up to this point, we've been doing nothing but complaining, see. But now it's exciting. Lieutenant Cherry's walking around, and he's handing out some wild stuff. You can imagine the excitement. Cherry says, "All right now, men, Lieutenant Kowalski and Corporal Simons are now going to pass your face camouflage equipment around among the squads. And since this is a night operation tonight, there will be nobody. I repeat, you will receive 7 days company punishment if you are found not wearing your face camouflage. Now, Kowalski, please pass it out among the men." And each one of us got a tube of this black stuff. Have you seen pictures of them in the Army where you put this stuff all over your face? So when you fall out after chow tonight, you will hear the whistles blow. I will expect all of you men to fall out with your complete field pack, including shelter halves. You will fall out with your dubbin. You will have with you your medical kit. In fact, you will have your complete field equipment on your back, and we will move out 15 minutes after the whistles sound, and you will be wearing your face camouflage. Oh, boy, everybody's all excited, see. And not to be overlooked, of course, is the fact that the Signal Corps is one of the proudest of all the units of the United States Army. And I want Company K to be the best damn company in the whole 3rd Corps, right? And now let's hear you sound off, right? And the entire company goes, right, right! And cheering. See, this is gung-ho, esprit de corps, Company K. Well, that whole day went by in a long, swirling rainstorm. And all afternoon, we were given the afternoon off to put our packs together, which we did, Everybody rolled his pack. And rolling a pack is an art in itself. And by this time, we were all very good at it. And so we're down on the floor in the barracks, rolling our pack, putting our shelter halves in. Once in a while, there's always one guy that has more talent than the others. at rolling a really tight shelter half. These are little things you never hear about that are, the professional soldiers, little things. Rolling a tight shelter half. I mean, so tight you could just put one hand around it, just tight and neat, and it makes that horseshoe around the pack, and that rigging with the shelter half rope, and the shoes tucked in, and so finally by 5 o'clock everybody's got his pack made. We're all waiting, and everybody's got his helmet out, and all afternoon I've been carrying this tube of this black stuff in my pocket. It's really exciting, see. And we're milling around, waiting for the whistles to blow, and sure enough, chow blows. They ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, and we fall out for chow. Everybody's excited. The rain is coming down. We're lined up in front of the mess hall. We have our usual dinner of cornbread and SOS and that stuff, We go through the Jell-O and pour it back to the barracks. Everybody's getting this pack on, and then the whistle blows. Out we go. And Company K is moving into battle. The B aggressors. Each one of us covered with that black stuff. We stood by our bunks, we put it all over, and your eyes are peering out. You put the helmet on, you got everything on, the rigging, the camouflage. And we had these camouflage helmets, the kind with the webbing, the net over the top. And the guys, even some guys got little leaves stuck in already and on there already. And here we are, all lined up now, out in the company, and the rain is drifting down. Now, I don't know whether you've seen in the movies, haven't you, this stuff with the face stuff? You've seen it? You've seen it, okay. Well, I wonder whether or not you are aware of the fact this stuff is supremely uncomfortable to wear. I was not aware of it until that time. What happens was you put this stuff on your face and you immediately begin to sweat. It clogs up your pores. And you're sweating like mad, and your face is kind of itching. It's like axle grease all over your face. The rain is coming down. We pile into our trucks, and off we go, rattling into the night, the Ozarkian night. And we go hour after hour in the rain and the slush and the crud, and you could see the mud flashing up. And once in a while, we'd stop, and the officers would walk by with flashlights, checking the outfit, making sure everything's cool. We're on our way. It seemed like about 2 o'clock in the morning, we finally arrived way deep in the woods, and the back of the flap tent goes open, and they pile us out. We all pile out in the dark, and we're standing there. And I'm standing next to Goldberg. The rain is drifting down. Lieutenant Cherry is walking up and down the company, and he is telling our orders, whispering them. 10 degrees to the right. All of you got your compasses out? Exactly 15 degrees from north. The company command will be set up. We are in Red Defenders territory right now. We are in enemy country. Don't make a sound. I don't want to hear no rattling carbines. I don't want to hear no bayonets banging. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to see nobody smoking no cigarettes. Now, you squad leaders will make your assignments, and the first wire laying team will move out in just 5 minutes. We want a telephone line to be run between here and the Blue Aggressor Battalion headquarters, which is a quarter of a mile at 290 degrees directly from this point. Any questions will be answered by your squad commanders. And he's walking up and down the line. See, we're all excited. And the rain is drifting down. We're in enemy country. And the squad leader walks over to me and says, Shepard, you and Goldberg are going to start with our number 2 reel. I want you guys to move out right now. Take that reel and start running wire. And you will be met by another squad who will continue wire laying about a quarter of a mile off 290 degrees from this point. You got your compasses, you guys? Okay. Now get that reel and get moving out. Get the lead out and move. I said, let's go, Goldberg. Holy smokes. Goldberg says, yeah. We got our reel now. And the 2 of us start going through the rain. The rain. And we've got our packs and everything. We're running right on the wire in the prescribed manner.
We know how to do this. We've been doing this for months. We start unhooking the wire. Now we are knee-deep in swamp water. What the hell is this? Swamp water all around. It's getting deeper and deeper. Now it's up to my neck. And there's mud and crud, and I can hear things scriffling around, animals in the dark. And now we're up on some kind of a shore. And we're still walking along. I got the compass. I says, come on, Goldberg, let's go. And now we go down a long, steep embankment. And we're down at the bottom of the embankment. More water. Shh, the water's coming. And we're starting up the embankment slowly on our hands and knees. When all of a sudden, we hear a sound ahead of us. Goldberg says, hurry up, there's the other squad. I said, Wiki Goldberg, shh, be quiet, let's go. And then I said to the guys up ahead of us, hey, you guys, shh, hey, you guys. Silence. Hey, here's the wire, you guys. And then I hear another sound coming out of the darkness. Another whisper says, are you guys blue? You guys blue? Yeah, we're Company K. 1362nd Signal Airborne Mesquite Repair Battalion. We got the PL-33 here that's connected back to the company headquarters. Lieutenant Cherry is on the other end. Okay, you guys, come on forward. And so we crawl forward. And I see this guy in the darkness. I give him the wire. And suddenly, he whips out a .45. Says, okay, you guys, you're captured. He said, did you get that, Jake? 1362nd Signal Airborne Mesquite Repair Battalion. Lieutenant Cherry commanding. Yeah. Okay, now you guys are captured. And in fact, oh no, we're captured. Not only captured, but for the last 6 months they've been telling us, never give nothing but your name, your rank, and your serial number. Do not ever mention your unit. Do not ever mention your commanding officer or what function you are performing. And we've spilled the entire beans to the whole Red Army. Captured. Oh no.
Well, I don't have to tell you that the next morning, our entire company is sitting in a POW compound. And Lieutenant Cherry is walking around. His face is red as a beet. And he's purple. They've taken his gun away. They've taken all his ammunition away. They even made him take off his bars. He's a POW. We're all wearing these things that say P on the back. But 1362nd Company K is not only in total disgrace, it is behind barbed wire. And there's two guys with red armbands standing there with M1s just watching us. And Lieutenant Cherry is going from group to group saying, if I ever find a guy that spilled the beans, if I ever find out who tipped them off, I'm going to bust that guy down to a buck you-know-what. He'll never get a rating. You hear that? And then every once in a while, one of the corporals with the red armbands would, shut up, you over there. Come on now, shut up. And they'd stick Cherry with a bayonet. Oh, boy.